You know, in the crypto world, a name is everything. But what happens when one name points to two completely different tokens? It's a recipe for confusion. Today, we're diving headfirst into the BNB Tiger Mystery. We've got two contracts, two communities, and a whole lot of questions. So our mission today? Find out which one is the real deal.
So how are we going to crack this case? Well, we've got a plan. First, we'll break down the problem itself. Then we'll get into the backstory, a real story of survival. After that, we'll look at the hard evidence, the numbers on the blockchain. Then, and this is important, I'll give you a checklist so you can verify all this yourself. And finally, we'll deliver the community's verdict.
And this right here is the heart of the matter. You go looking for BNB Tiger and bam, two different contracts pop up. If you're an investor or just trying to join the community, picking the wrong one could be a big mistake. It really makes you wonder, how did we even get here?
All right, first things first, in any good mystery, you've got to understand the problem. So let's untangle exactly how we ended up with two tigers prowling around the same space. This is where the plot thickens.
So here's where it all went sideways. The original developers decided to do a migration, basically creating a brand new token from scratch. But here's the twist. The community that had already formed around the first token, they didn't go along with it. They decided to stay, taking over the original project and running it themselves. And just like that, you have two versions competing for the same name.
And that brings us to the project's history, which, honestly, is a real story of survival. See, to figure out which token carries the real legacy, you can't just look at the code. You have to look at that moment the community decided to stand its ground and protect the original.
If you look at the timeline, it tells you everything. It all started with the original contract launch, the birth of the community. Then came the migration attempt where the devs spun up that second token. But the real story, the game-changing moment, is what happened next. The community said, no thanks. They rallied together, took charge, and decided to govern the original contract themselves. That was the moment of truth.
And that whole act of preservation, that's what we mean when we say a project is community governed. It's a huge deal. It means the big decisions aren't coming from some small centralized team anymore. They're made by the token holders, by the people. That's decentralization in action. And it became the new identity of the original token.
Okay, so history gives us the backstory. But in crypto, you know the saying, the blockchain doesn't lie. The on-chain data tells the real story. So let's put on our detective hats and follow the clues. Okay, let's get into the hard data, because this is where things get really clear. First off, just look at the contract addresses. The OG community token ends in DC2D. The new dev token ends in 4CB5. Totally different. Now look at the max supply. Whoa, that's a difference of literally millions of trillions. These aren't just slightly different versions. They're fundamentally different assets. Period.
Now this chart, this is maybe the most telling piece of evidence we have. It shows you exactly where the people went. The OG community token has nearly 58,000 holders. The new one, just over 22,000. That is more than 2.5 times the support for the original. In a decentralized world, that holder count is pretty much the strongest vote of confidence you can get.
And really, this all boils down to governance. On one side, you've got the OG token. Defined by its community, it's all about collective decisions and real decentralization. On the other side, you've got the new token, which was deployed top-down by the developers. It just doesn't have that history, that grassroots foundation that makes the original what it is. To make that difference super clear, the OG community got smart. They developed their own unique branding. They lean into their lineage as the true original, using a white tiger and a more serious, mature logo. And this isn't just for looks. It's a powerful signal, a way to clearly say, we are the community-governed original. Look, we've gone through the evidence, but the most important rule in crypto is don't trust, verify. So now I'm going to give you the exact tools you need to become your own crypto detective and check all these facts for yourself. All right, here's your 5-step playbook to spot the OG. 1. Always confirm the contract address ends in DC2D. 2. Hop on BSC scan and check the holder count. You should see that 57,000 plus number. 3. Verify the contract ownership is renounced, meaning no single entity has special powers. 4. Make sure the liquidity is locked, which is crucial for security. And 5. Double-check it all against a trusted source like the original CoinGecko page. And this really gets to the heart of what crypto is all about. The whole point of the blockchain is that it's an open book, a public ledger. Everything we've talked about is out there for anyone to see. You don't have to take my word for it. You can, and you absolutely should, verify it for yourself. All right, we've looked at the history, we've crunched the numbers, and you've got the tools to check it for yourself. So let's bring it all home and deliver the community's verdict.
When you put all the pieces together, the case for the OG token really stands on 4 unshakable pillars. 1, it is genuinely community governed. 2, it has a massive 2.5 times larger base of holders. 3, it carries the project's original DNA and history. And 4, it's built a distinct brand to signal its authenticity.
So after all that, after all the noise and confusion, what are we left with? It all comes down to one single number. When we're talking about the true community-preserved BNB Tiger, there's only one.
Our investigation, well, it leads us to a pretty straightforward conclusion. The token with the original contract, the one that was saved and is now championed by its community, the one with the on-chain data to back it all up, that is the true BNB Tiger.
And this whole situation leaves us with a bigger, more fascinating question that goes way beyond just this one token. It makes you think about the nature of decentralization itself. Who really owns a project's identity? Is it the people who wrote the first lines of code? Or is it the community that breathes life into it, supports it, and carries the torch forward? That's something to chew on. Thanks for digging into this with me today.